think we're live now. But either way, always be here to team support. All right, we're getting some audio over there. But we're gonna have a live broadcast nonetheless. You got it over there, Keith? Because I got it on YouTube, and we actually
doesn't matter. We're gonna roll. I got a black screen on this one.
Well, we look pretty good on YouTube, so I guess we're gonna roll anyways. We got Facebook, guys. Are you guys picking up Facebook? So you might need to just
you are live.
I'm on Facebook.
But either way, here we are.
Welcome to Voting Tips Live.
Doing our monthly Voting Tips Live broadcast from the helm here at MarineMax Team Support. This is where all the magic happens, right here, and we're happy to talk about everything going on. Of course, I'm Nick Pavlakis from St. Pete.
Captain Keith Clearwater.
Captain Keith, and one of the cool things about being a team support is there is an encyclopedia of big-time players in the boating world, and of course, we ran into one today. We got Raul Bermudez here with MarineMax Vacations, and we're going to talk about a lot of stuff, especially going to Miami Boat Show. So got a little guest here joining us, and a surprise guest, but we couldn't have picked one better. Raul's actually been on Voting Tips Live before, so he knows the drill. Of course, this show doesn't work without the questions from the viewers.
That's right.
Any questions come in about Aquila, MarineMax Vacations, Miami Boat Show, boating in general, our favorite food, no matter what it is, go ahead, shoot it off, and we're going to get to all those questions today. So that being said, Keith, long time no see.
Long time no see, man.
And Raul, fancy running into you here.
Yeah. Happy to be here.
Yeah, Happy New Year, right? Last time we did this was December, so.
Haven't seen you guys in a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so look at you all nice and tan and everything. So I was following along on Facebook, MarineMax Vacations, and you guys just had a 10-year anniversary.
We did. It's amazing.
Congratulations.
How time flies. Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, I was out in the BVIs last week celebrating with all our team members down there, some of the partners, because it's not just us. It takes a lot of partnerships, whether it's the transfer company, the taxi company, the provisioning store. So we had all of them come and had a little celebration, gave a speech. It is on Facebook, so if you want to get a little clip, it's about a 30-minute video of the presentation.
Oh, cool. You put together a whole...
Yeah, well, one of the local TV channels was there and filmed the whole thing, and they put it on TV. It's about 37 minutes. It's JTV 55, Channel 55, so if you want to look at it, it's about 37 minutes long. But it was great. A couple of the politicians were there, or attorneys that got us started 10 years ago. And then we also celebrated, we have one team member that's been with us the entire time, all 10 years. And she runs our cleaning department, and she's amazing. She's pretty cool. So it was fun to see the team. We happen to have a 54 there on location, so people got to see that too. So it was a great time. And then, of course, when you're at the BVIs, you got to get out a little bit. So we got out and visited some of the sites. And some of the new ones that just opened up, like the Veteran Yacht Club, was amazing. Scrub Island was amazing. It's been a little bit of time on the north side.
Some of the things, I was looking to watch some of the videos and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of them, like, there's no crowds. There's no, I mean, a lot of places look like you guys were coming in there. It was kind of, like you said, brand new, but like it was just pristine.
Yeah, it was great. It's not too crowded. We're busy. I mean, if you look at the docks and the pictures, the marketing person we had there was asking, so when are the boats going to be on the dock? And I'm like, hopefully never.
Right.
They need to be out chartering and exploring. But you're right. It wasn't super busy. It wasn't really crowded. The protocols now are pretty easy to get in there. But yeah, it was. You get in there at the right time, and it's not bad. It's pretty good. I also give people tips. Everybody does basically you go around and circle all the islands you're island up, and I always tell them either stop in one place a little bit longer so you're behind the crowds, right, because they all follow, or do it backwards, and then you'll never hit.
Right, you just cross them and pass.
Yeah.
2 ships in a night.
That's right.
So what's you mentioned the protocols easing up a little bit. That's whenever we've had anybody from Vacations, hot topic, of course, over the past year or two is whether it's BVIs or Bahamas. Let's talk about the BVIs. What's that protocol look like? How much of a hassle is it to travel? They're easing up a little bit. And what does that look like for you, Raul, to come from the United States to go to BVIs?
Yeah, so I don't remember when they changed it. I think it was October, but they used to have a quarantine in place. So of course, not a lot of people wanted to go.
Right.
And you could quarantine on the boat, and they had designated anchorages where you could do that. But they've taken that away. For fully vaccinated, right now, and again, it changes so often. So I'm always careful to say, hey, go check the government website for the latest restrictions. But if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to quarantine at all. You just have a negative test before you show up. That's the other thing. They used to make you do a test when you show up. Now you don't. So a negative test before you go in. Show your vaccination card. They do ask you for a proof of insurance in case you do get COVID while you're there, to pay for the hotel room. But it was fairly easy. Show the card, go in, and you're good to go. Vacation.
Do you have to physically take your paper card, or can you just have
You can have a print screen of it. Yeah, most of my stuff was on my phone.
Right. Okay.
They would scan it and look at it.
Right.
Same thing with negative tests. Negative tests came to my phone anyway. I was printing.
Yeah.
But it's really easy. And then coming back out, same thing. Negative test. You take 2 days before you find that's a U.S. requirement, and it was fairly easy. I actually flew in. And I took a ferry out, so it's similar protocols.
Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people are worried about it. I'm going to St. Lucia next month, and it's like talking about like the travel insurance and stuff like that. It's like, man, like you just never know nowadays.
Yeah. And the good thing is with our travel planners, our vacation planners, they can send you what the latest protocols are.
That's cool.
They can actually send you to a link to buy travel insurance, and the company already knows our program. And it's all based on the value of your reservation. So it's really easy, not expensive. And it's good to have. Because the other thing is, look, this week we had people cancel flights because of the weather up north. So it's a good thing to have when you're traveling that far.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how MarineMax does it on all levels. So, and they do all the legwork for you, whether it's on the vacation side or retail. We definitely see it all the time. But you had mentioned that you had a 54 there. How are those 54s chartering out on the retail side? Like what I'm mainly dealing in, clearly they're an unprecedented popular yacht. And a big side of that is our charter fleet. We knew they'd charter out well with the layout that will be mastered why the 44 had so much success. How are you seeing those 54s charter out as far as how many people are going to be on there? Are they going to be going to the same places? Are they longer trips? Now do you guys can offer these larger boats?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so the 54 was there. And if you guys are new and don't know about MarineMax Vacations, we have a whole charter operation down in the British Virgin Islands. We have anywhere from 40 to 50 boats, depending on the time of year they rotate. Newest fleet in the industry. We only keep the boats in the program about 3 years, so it's fantastic new fleet. The boats are spec'd out just like a retail ones. In fact, while I was there last week, I had 2 prospective buyers that went down there to charter to see how the boat handled, how they might live on it for a week before they make the decision to buy. And then I also had a couple of our owners, because all those boats are actually privately owned in the charter fleet. So if you're interested in that, go to marinemaxvacations.com and get more information on the ownership program. But so the boats are chartering, all of them, the 44s, the 54s. We spec them very similar to a retail boat, so it's not like it's lower specs. Layouts, the 44 are identical, 3 cabins, 3 heads. We do the bigger engines, the 320s. We do the crane.
Oh, really? You're doing 320s at charter boats now?
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
All the new ones are 320s. We have a couple with 260s.
Yeah.
All the new ones are 320s, the crane damage system, an additional fuel tank for after, the program. So
they're all the same. Yeah.
We don't do radar and some of those other things that you don't need down there because we don't let you operate at night. Otherwise it's pretty much the same boat. The 54 is boat solid. It's unbelievable how well these boats are doing. And we also offer a program. So we have 5, 6 of them down there now. 3 of them are bareboat.
Okay.
So if you're qualified, you have to have experience to take these boats out. And we also have 3 that are fully crewed with a captain and a chef that actually live on the boat. That's their home. All inclusive.
So on the ones that are crewed, we know that Are they 4-streamer boats and charters?
So there are 5. So
There are 5.
that's the one thing that's different. So
Is that 5 staterooms for gas plus the captain?
no 4 for gas and 1 crew quarters half. Same.
Okay,
same
yeah.
The bunk
It's not in the bow.
It's not about
Yeah.
We actually put in that peak up there, but it's really for kids.
Okay, cool.
Or if you hire the boat as a bareboat, you want to have a captain, you can put the captain up there.
Okay,
As long as they're fit.
cool. You gotta have a little captain.
We do have a question from Joe Portella from YouTube. How much is the cost for the Aquila 545 as an owner, the ownership program?
So the best thing to call it, so good question on pricing. Pricing is a little bit different from retail boats for a number of reasons. One is we lock in buy a certain number of units from Aquila. For the next 2 years, we already know what we're going to put into the vacations program. So in turn, they get the manufacturers of the engines and the equipment, and they get a better price because they already know, hey, I have these 5 orders, and we commit to those ahead of time. The other reason it's a little bit different is the boat is going to be operating offshore. Certain taxes and import duties are not applicable to those boats, so it varies. It also depends on which program they buy into, whether it's a fixed payment, guaranteed payment from us, or if they take a risk and they carry all the expenses, but they get a big portion of the revenue. But it's very simple. There are some savings if you put it to the program. Just know the boat is going to be in Tortola, the British Virgin Islands. It's not in the back of your house. You got to fly there and get used to it. So it's hard to compare the value of the price of the boat, having one here at home versus one in the Virgin Islands.
As an owner, how often do they get to go down there and use their own boat or a boat?
So, yeah, good question again. So it depends again on the program. If they do the guaranteed payment where we guarantee them a payment every single month, whether the charges or not, they have some limitations, 2 weeks in high season, 2 weeks in low season, and these are advanced reservations. So if they know they want to go New Year's for the next 3 years, book it now when you buy the boat. Under the revenue share program, where they're carrying all the expenses, it's pretty much unlimited use as long as the boat is available. Just know that when you're using your boat, you're not producing revenue to offset your expenses.
Right.
So again, a lot of it is just give me a call, go to maxvacations.com, go to the vacations ownership page, send me an email, and I'm happy to share sample performance on both of those and how the program works.
Yeah, maybe we can put that link here down below. I know you've heard us talk about the man behind the curtain, but we got the lady behind the curtain. We got Lisa here now. So Lisa, you want to come out and show everybody?
Oh,
You're going to recognize her.
The lady behind the curtain. So she's going to drop that link to Marine Next Vacations. And
It's a great vacation. If you haven't done it,
it's upscale.
I met a couple of first timers too, just ended their trip. Actually, I talked to them about their trip just to make sure we're delivering what we said we're going to deliver. And there was a small family repeater actually with three young girls and a friend, so 4 little girls. And I asked them, how's your trip? And they said, this is the best vacation in the world.
That's
girls
awesome.
don't want to go anywhere else. They don't want to get in, they just want to go back to. And it reminded me of my kids have grown up with vacations. And yeah, you can offer them a ski vacation, Disney, you name it. And they're like, nope, let's go back to the BIs. Because you spend really quality time with the family and the boat and you're snorkeling. And it's amazing. It's really, truly a life-changing event. And then the crude yacht, oh my, chefs. If you've never done it, so we call it crude yacht. I'm not sure where that term came from.
Yeah.
But it's really all inclusive. The meals this lady's preparing, they didn't want to get off the boat.
I mean, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it, right?
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, absolutely. All the food is included, drinks, just basically nothing to think about. And the other great thing about this crude product is they know places where other people don't know about, right? Or they go to places where their boaters are not allowed to. But it's amazing. And they know the tricks. Okay, what day should we go to see Foxy? Because they know it's not going to be crowded. So they change their itinerary based on what we want to do.
That's crude. CREWE.
That's it.
Crude.
Not crude oil.
That's crude. Yeah. Hey, speaking of ownership and stuff like that you can do down there in BVI, you got Miami Boat Show.
Yes.
And I know both of you guys are going to be there. So,
Yeah.
what can you tell us about that? Boats you can have there, where you can be?
Your dreams come true.
We are. So we'll be down here with the usual Achilles. We got a couple new guys joining us too. And it's the first time ever in history that literally, well, it's already grown, every single Aquila model is going to be at the show in one place at the same time. And the thing about the Aquilas, the Power Cats, they get a lot of traction on YouTube, on social media, and they're cool, right?
Yeah.
Every single person tells me the same thing. When you step on one for the first time, they say, man, the videos don't do it justice. And whether it's a 28 Malachi Cat, 32 Sport, 36, 44, 54, and even the only 70 in the world, it's all going to be at that show. And so really hop on boats, touch them, feel them, go into staterooms, talk to the guys and girls that eat, sleep, breathe Aquila. There's not a better place. So, tell us a little bit about what we have cooking for Miami and where to find us, why it's different than your run-of-the-mill boat show or just going into the showroom.
Yeah, pretty excited about the Miami show. Seeing the whole lineup, like you said, the 28, the 32, 36, 44, 54, and the 70. I almost have to write it down.
Yeah.
There's so many different models now. But it's exciting. We'll actually have representatives there from the manufacturer, which is always great. Get feedback from that directly. So the whole lineup there, the vacations team will be there, the Aquila team will be there, the experts with the Aquila sales group comes to say hello to me or Nick. We'll have the whole lineup. It's going to be at 1 Harold Plaza. So the Miami show has changed. It is not in Key Biscayne anymore. So make sure you look where we're going to be. So it's 1 Harold Plaza. It's a little bit south of the Venetian Causeway, and we're going to be at the end of Ramp B, as in boy, or burrito.
Or boats.
So come check it out. We'll be there. Oh, also, the dates have changed. We used to go through Columbus, and is that what that is on Monday? Whatever, Memorial Day, one of those.
Used to be Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so it starts the day after Valentine's. So this is going to be weird. We all for Valentine's in the last 20 years. It starts on Wednesday, and it goes through Sunday. It used to be Thursday to Monday, but go to the website, Miami Boat Show, and find it, or MarineMax.com. We'll have information there on the Miami Boat Show and all the other brands we represent.
And we're not getting into details, but
there may be a special announcement happening, maybe, but you'll have to come to the show to find out.
yeah.
So
Stay
pretty
tuned,
excited
guys.
about that, man. Stay tuned. It's a pretty big announcement.
Well,
I'm intrigued. I haven't even know what it is now.
I see. I tell you what.
yeah. Well, cool, man. We all know that before Fort Lauderdale and Miami, it's hectic for all of us. There's a lot of moving parts. It's a logistical dance to make this happen on all sides, and it's all worth it in the end. And
Absolutely.
it's going to be a heck of a display, a heck of a show for everybody.
Absolutely. If you haven't made an appointment, try to make an appointment.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a Zoom. Try to make an appointment if you want to take some time to look at the boats and email your sales rep or just go to MarineMax.com and say you want to make an appointment to look at the boats. It's going to be pretty busy. Yeah, it's going to be exciting but busy.
Ready to rock.
There you go.
Yeah,
Make dreams come true.
every single day.
Change lives.
So, well, awesome, Raul. Well, we appreciate you taking the time out of your day, stopping by, making this happen.
Yeah.
Wasn't planned by the way, guys. This was all shooting from the hip. So, not
Teach you to
bad.
walk by the door.
Yeah, he's
That's
gonna
the
walk-
last
he's
time
gonna
I
walk
say hi
around
to you
there.
guys.
Next month and see if we can grab. One thing about being over at Team
Yeah, last time I seen him. No, happy to help. Looking forward to the show. Thank you for the call out for vacations and
Well, cool, man. See you in Miami.
All right, guys.
See your out.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm not following on Facebook. I think you are. Keith, on YouTube, we've got a lot of phenomenal questions here coming in, and we're going to get to all those questions really quick before Keith and I kind of bounce some questions off of each other. Keep in mind, this is an open forum.
Yep.
Anything goes. So center ourselves in the middle of the screen.
I don't know, Lisa, you want to start going through questions? We're going to roll in.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have YouTube up or you want me to?
I have YouTube up. We have a really good question here from Michael Stubbs, two-part question, which was actually answered. So we've got Michael Stubbs. How long should out drives be left in the water wet still? Then he comes into, say, freshwater lake. So that makes a big difference. So
Huge. I mean, I don't really have the freshwater.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it in saltwater for
even
any time at all, really, after you're done with the boat.
I mean, even if you bottom paint the boat,
I'm driving
you're still going to get barnacles and growth up on the inside. Bellows can dry out and crack. Freshwater, I'm not certain about it. I don't think that's an issue, but saltwater, man, if you can do anything, high and dry on a lift, or
Especially in
something on
Florida.
a trailer.
Especially in Florida.
Yeah, down here, we really try to push you away from that. When I moved down here in '76, my folks came from Indiana, right? And my dad didn't listen to people's advice. We had a well-craft V20 with a Mercury stern drive, and we painted it. I don't even think he wanted to modify it. Oh, we'll just run it every other day or whatever. So that lasted, not even a year. We traded it out and we got the outboard version. It's been outboards ever since. But stern drive stuff, fresh or salt water, you got to keep it out of the water.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got another good one here. I'll take this question. We've got Kevin B on YouTube. Any plans that you know of that Honda will enter the high horsepower outboard market, 350 horsepower plus? Seems everyone but Honda is making big outboards for large center consoles. Thank you. That's a great point, Kevin. And Keith and I have talked about it before. Just the intense and fast-moving horsepower rates of the boating industry. I remember when Yamaha came out with the V8 350, it was like, oh man, you've got a V8 Chevy flipped up on its side there. And it was like, then Mercury came out with it. And then you had Marine 7 enter the game with their massive engines. What was it, 627? They're no longer around. Suzuki came in with 350. Merc jumps up to 400 in the L6. Yamaha comes back with the XTO 425, which I have heard a lot of great things about. And then, of course, Keith, do you remember the day when a 30-foot center console was, that was it. Yeah. And now it's common. Almost every major high-performance center console or sport or fishing manufacturer is going to have some sort of flagship in a 40 or even 50-foot class lineup. So how do you push those boats through the water? You're talking outboard power. Well, you put 5, 6 outboards on the back of them. It's a lot of lower units. That's a lot of moving pieces. That's a lot of engines.
A lot of 100 hours.
Yeah. And you can either do that, or you have these manufacturers come along and say, okay, we're going to come out with these big engines to push these big center consoles, heavy boat. And of course, Suzuki 350, that's a dual prop engine. Yamaha XTO, massive propeller, a lot of displacement, a lot of innovation in that engine and the 425 horsepower. Then you have Mercury come up there and they kind of go two routes, right? You see they come out with the 450R V8 supercharged engine. That's a go fast engine. Then you've got the 600 that comes out last year, and that is a pure big boat engine. You now come from having to put 4 or 5 outboards on the back of these boats, where you've got 47-foot Intrepids, you've got these massive whalers, you got a 420 outrage, you're putting 3 outboards on the back of this boat, which 3 versus 4, you only have 3 engines. They're big boat engines, 2-speed transmissions, a hood on top of them, and of course the dual props like we talked about before. And you look at the performance stats, even quad 450Rs on a 420 outrage versus triple 600 Mercuries. That 600 boat is going to jump right out of the hole. And that's exactly what those engines were made to do. So to answer your question, hey, when is Honda going to enter that market? Okay. Mercury and Yamaha are making up so much market share, and they are moving so fast, and it just makes me say, hey, what is next? Okay, what reveal is going to be at a road show? I don't even see anybody catching them at this point. I mean, at this point, I think that the next thing, which is going to be years, maybe decades down the road, might even be some sort of alternative energy source. But hey, I don't know. But as far as this big horsepower race, to get back to your question, when's Honda going to get into it? Man, if I was in the industry right now, well, I am in the industry. If I was in manufacturing, I would not want to be chasing Mercury or Yamaha. They are moving at lightning speeds. They're doing it very well, and they are really satisfying the market. So yeah, it fires me up. Awesome question. And
Wouldn't it be cool to be an engineer for Mercury at Lake X?
I know. I want to go to Lake X.
Think what they're running around out there on that lake right now. It's not.
We don't even
out for 5 years, maybe. Right? It's already in development and testing and all that stuff. It's pretty cool.
I don't. I mean, I could be wrong. But maybe Honda comes in with some awesome 500 horsepower engine, but I don't see them really taking down Mercury right now.
I have a follow-up Mercury question on Facebook from Brady Clark.
Okay.
I have a question in reference to changing my Mercury gauges. If I have them paired, will they keep track of my previous hours?
Is this a Yamaha question or Mercury?
Mercury.
Okay.
Mercury gauges.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they will, because all it's doing is the gauge is reading the computer module that's on your engine. So yeah, you can swap out gauges and that, and it's still going to read what's coming off the engine. So yes.
It's a good question. So Crucial Corvette name here on YouTube. I have a small 18-foot jet sport boat. I'm looking for something to make it ride a little smoother. What do you think about the shock type trim tabs? Any suggestions? I use trim tabs every time I get up on plane. Keith had an awesome video here explaining trim tabs. 18-foot boat though. Do you think that's something you would normally see on an 18-footer?
Not a lot. I have seen them.
Yeah,
and they're just
I've seen them on 19SPX.
you know, the shock, whatever he's talking about. They're just like the spring loaded or compression test. You know, type thing.
So they're not.
they're kind of. I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think the ones we're talking about. So then, as you get up on the plane and you're running, then the water pressure of the boat running through water is going to start lifting those out. What I would imagine he's talking about.
So you think that would not only make it ride smoother, it could also level out.
Probably. I mean, think about people used to add those dolphins or dolphins or whatever
Yeah.
to give yourself a little bit of lift and stuff like that at lower RPMs and speeds. So yeah, just depending on the boat. I mean, I've definitely seen them.
Cool. Good question. Keep those questions coming, guys. And by the way, if for whatever reason we don't get to all the questions, we will get to them in the following episode. So that's what we're going to do here. A question that came in from the last episode on Facebook. Don't know who it came from. Hopefully you're watching. Would you recommend a fixed VHF radio or a handheld for use in the Tampa Bay and near shore element? A handheld will definitely. I think it's sufficient, but you're going to have the more powerful.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking 25 watt versus 50 watt or 5 watt. If your boat's got room for it, and if you're going to venture more than say 5-6 miles offshore, if you've got the room for it, you can put a fixed mount in there with an 8-foot antenna or a taller antenna. It's going to increase your range. You got more power. You can do it, but cell phones now, the range, the coverage is pretty darn good. I mean, years ago there was dead spots. Think about it. Your cell towers are set up along the coast wherever they are. They're not shooting outshore into the Gulf or outshore into the Atlantic. So they're land based. So around here it's probably cell phone range probably 8-9 miles offshore.
Yeah.
You know how you've been offshore all day and you come back in and all of a sudden you get your phone on.
You might be able to get a text.
You start getting all your texts and messages and stuff like that. But up and down the intercoastal, really near shore, in the bay and stuff like that, a handheld VHF is going to definitely suffice.
Yeah. So, and what was that brand that you recommended? Was it Icon?
Icon is what I have.
Yeah, that's the ones we have at the marina too. Keith did a great episode on that when right before the Christmas season on some cool gifts, and that still is a cool gift. Valentine's Day coming up, maybe get that boater in your family a beach.
There you go. How romantic.
Might save your life. Might save your life or not.
Yeah. It's just whatever you get, make sure it's waterproof, it's submersible. The ICOMs, I know they've got a little feature, they'll vibrate and shake, get the water out of the speaker so nothing's
Oh, like an Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So let's get to some segment questions here, Keith. Looks like we had a question on the text line from Noah Luke from Tampa saying, inboard versus outboard engine. Let's go over the pros and cons really quick. We're mainly dealing with your outboards nowadays. I mean, that's probably changed a lot. I mean, 10 years ago, you probably saw a lot more small boats with inboards.
Yeah, but you got the nautiques, the wakeboard boats, and all that stuff are all inboards, and they're beefed up now to handle the salt. So you got the saltwater versions of those.
Yeah.
You got a lot of clients that have those that you see them on Tampa Bay, up down the intercoastal, out there wakeboarding and surfing, and like Brett McGill and Bill McGill, and all of them love to do with those wakeboard boats. But typically, so you got that kind of aspect of it. Around here, the IOs are not so much, kind of a dying off breed.
Yeah.
But if you're out on Lake of the Ozarks or wherever, freshwater boats, stuff like that, why not? You're still popular. The maintenance wise on an outboard is so much easier to deal with and cheaper. If you got to keep the boat in the water, you can trim the engine all the way up out of the water. So you're not getting any drag or growth or anything on those engines. So if it's an inboard, you get up in the bigger yachts. Then you're dealing with diesel and all that, and you can't flush those out. It just moves so much water.
And I get it. I'm an outboard guy personally. Some people really do want inboards, and there are pros. You don't have an engine hanging off the back of the boat. You get more space on the swim platform. With that being said, there are a few inboard boats that do get sold in the saltwater environment. It's just important to remember, just like, okay, you're going to flush your engine out every time you have a 100-hour service. You need to factor that in, your manifolds, your risers. There are a few extra maintenance costs that are involved with running an inboard boat in salt water. You just need to account for that. And there's plenty of inboard boats being enjoyed on the intercoastal today.
Absolutely.
For me, the outboard, it is more of an outboard market, at least on the west coast of Florida. I know up north, you get to New England, you see a lot more inboard boats on salt water. Resale is something to consider as well. Might be a little easier to find a buyer for your boat when it does come time to sell. But I mean, outboard technology's come such a long way too, from the days of two-stroke engines. Just flushing the engine's really the only preventative maintenance that you need to do, and there's no more earmuffs and running your engine in your driveway at 10 o'clock at night and waking all your neighbors up and smoking out the neighborhood. So, I mean, technology increases so fast in the boating industry, but like we talked about before on that large horsepower outboard segment, the outboard technology is really turning into more and more like a car-like experience is what I call it. You're not mixing gas and oil. You turn the key, you maintain it every 100 hours. There's not going to be any surprises, knock on wood, and you can just get out on the water and start having fun and burning gas. That's what I have to say about that.
Well, we actually have Noah Lucas tuned in again this week, and he asked a follow-up question. What do different pitched props do?
You can take that one.
So the pitch prop is going to determine. Think about how it rotates through the water, how much water it grabs, right? So I'm not the mechanical engineer on this, right? But the boat that you're going to get is already from MarineMax or from anybody from Yamaha, Mercury.
It's going to come with the right.
It's going to come with the right prop on that, right? Now, if you start tweaking it, adding weight and doing some things, you may have to change it around. I'm not the prop guy, but
there are prop guys, by the way.
There's people that make a living just doing that, and I mean they tweak them and bend them, and they come from the factory with this and they want to check it out. But, Mercury's got a whole, you've been up there, a whole building that just does nothing except,
Or propellers.
for props, and they know what they're doing. So I'm not going to get into the tweaking part of it.
So, but what is it though? So is it the larger the pitch, the larger the prop? So like a 19 pitch versus a 17 pitch.
No, so it's the blade width versus the curvature, how far it would travel through in one revolution.
Okay. And of course, different props you get these guys that really talk about prop testing. You might get a little bit more hole shot off of one prop, more economy off of another propeller.
3 blades, 4 blades.
A little bit more top end off of another propeller. And then, of course, you have aluminum versus stainless props, which your stainless is going to be a little bit more expensive. They're going to last a long time. Aluminum props aren't that, they do have a plus side, though, especially on the smaller boats that you're running in shallow water with.
Well, that and they're cheaper, too. So,
Yeah.
if you need a spare prop, maybe you're going to the Keys, right? And you've got your nice stainless prop on there. If you take an aluminum with you, if you do hit something or you ding the prop or whatever, at least you got a spare with you. You can swap it out. If you're down there, you don't have a spare, and you're on vacation, you're only there for that 1 week, and you can't replace it yourself, then, you might be waiting 2-3 days before something gets shipped down from Miami down to the Keys or whatever. That's like on the getaways and the trips, whether we're going to the Bahamas, we're going to the Keys and stuff like that. We want people to take a spares kit with them.
Yeah.
So you got extra colors, extra belts, all that stuff. You can always find a tech. You get down there in the BVIs or you're in the Bahamas or Bimini or wherever, and something's happened. You may not be able to get down there, you may not have the tools or the knowledge. Somebody around there's going to have it. As long as you got the parts, you say, here, fix this for me.
Yeah.
You would be up and running.
Yeah, and as you boat more and more, hey, stuff happens. You're gonna, in some like keel owners have really dialed this in. You get a feel for exactly what's gonna go first, right? So you're gonna keep a list of spare parts, and sometimes you need to leave if you're gonna do those long trips. You learn as you go. You become your own mechanic in a way, and actually all pretty simple. But to turn up with a little bit of know-how, a 5-minute job, which can otherwise ruin a trip, it goes a long way. I mean, changing a propeller you don't need to be a mechanic to do that either.
You just got to have the tools.
Yeah. But we got a lot of good questions coming off of YouTube here. We got Kevin B. Thanks for the shout out. He says, good engine topics today. Appreciate your expertise and experience. We've got David Grant. I might have to get back to you on this question, but I do know it's a thing. What Yamaha engines have exhaust burn through? I've heard 150 horsepower to 250 years, 2000 through 2008. I have heard of that. It has been acknowledged. I don't know enough about that to answer what models it's been. Maybe you can, Keith.
No idea.
We're going to get back to you on that one, David. But I actually got a guy I can talk to. We have a Yamaha Master Tech Market our store, so Yamaha through. And down here at the bottom, we'll get to yours last. That's a really good topic that Keith and I can hit on. But we've got on YouTube, we've got Ratty Poop Deck saying, speaking of props, what about the Shero prop? I've seen some videos and the savings on gas and additional power seems like a no-brainer. What are your thoughts? So I know the Shero guys really, really well. And they've got some really, really smart people working on that team. I've done some broadcasting with them. It's a cool idea. Check them out for sure. They're ribbon propellers, right? You've seen them. And they do stuff for small boats, big boats, and they're talking about, just like you're talking about, the increased efficiency. They do cost quite a bit of money, but it's definitely a step in another boating evolutionary direction. But they are good guys. I don't work for Shero or anything. But
What kind of prop is it now?
Shero propellers. So have you seen those propellers? Okay. So they are, like this. They're kind of funky. Let me show you a picture.
Okay, everybody, wait.
Well, no, look at this. So if you guys want to look them up, look at this. So I call them a ribbon prop, right? They look like that. You see those, right?
Yep.
So I wish I could.
They got a hole in the blade.
They got a hole in the blade. And basically, I guess there's less drag in the water. They're going to push the boat a different way, especially I've heard you're going to have low RPMs. They're going to, like on JPO boats, they might jump it around a little bit more. And they're very efficient. You're not gaining a ton of speed, but you are gaining quite a bit of fuel efficiency, which, of course, same thing we've talked about on the hydrofoil on the Kilo 36. That increases your range. So check them out. They're pretty cool. They do big stuff, little stuff, and I've done quite a bit of prop testing with them as well. And they've got some freaking smart people working for them. They've got some real hotshot engineers on that team. So check them out. They'll be a bit. Then for Thompson here, this is one you and I can bounce off each other a little bit because we've kind of gone into this in the past. What do you see as a future for hybrid powered boats, which they do exist? But like we've talked about, the technology isn't quite there yet. So what are your thoughts on getting away from gas or diesel?
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Look at the cars. Look at trucks. Look at everything. I mean, it's coming. It's no doubt about it. We got a Nautic Star at the store. Nautique.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, the Nautique. That's totally electric.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, put the battery in it, you replace it, $100,000.
Really?
Well, it's basically almost like double the price, but it's really cool. I mean, I haven't run it yet, but Nick Hutchinson at our store, he's been to Nautique and he's run that boat, and it's just totally silent. It's just really, really cool, and it's a beautiful boat.
How much horsepower is he putting out roughly?
I don't know what horsepower. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I know it like it'll run. What they say, like 6-7 hours or something like that if you're wake surfing and doing all that stuff. But if you're just like cruising around and stuff like that, you literally can run the thing for days.
Really?
On charge, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely exciting.
Yeah, I mean, it's if we've got it at the Marine Max Clearwater store. You know, if you're interested in looking at that boat or checking with one of the sales guys on that thing, the electric one, and I think it's 22 foot.
I think so. Yeah. You guys have displayed your show?
Yeah. We still got the Mercury truck there too. So,
Oh, no way.
yeah, it's all closed up.
You can open it up, right? You can
Yeah, I don't know where all the some levers are on that. It was a cool display.
What I think is equally as cool, like when we're talking about hybrid power, is like, yeah, it'd be cool, electric engines or hydrogen engines, whatever. But a lot of these larger boats are running on generators. You're having a diesel generator or gas power your AC or your DC system.
Well, it depends. So a lot of things are the generators all doing the AC stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of boats are getting away from the generators now and going with inverters.
With the inverters, which are powering air conditioning systems and
Yep.
whatnot.
Yep. So I mean, as batteries get better and better, and the lithium batteries and the technology, it's all phase. It's all going that way.
Yeah.
You know, and they can make the batteries lighter eventually. You know, there's no doubt about it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said though for when you put the throttles down on a few, 3 V8s and you hear
the sound, yeah.
That ever gets older, or when you got an L6 and you hear the supercharger spooling up.
Yeah, they'll be around for a long, long time. They're not going to totally disappear.
So it looks like we got a few minutes left here. If we can put in some closing questions, Keith and I will get them. But one thing I wanted to talk to you about, Keith, is let's talk about tides for a minute. We can do a whole episode on tides, what they mean for fishing, what they mean for navigation, where do they come from. But let's just kind of hit on right now here in the winter months, we're going to see lower tides, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the summer months, you're going to have higher tides, which, of course, is where a lot of danger comes in hurricanes when you start talking about surge and stuff like that, and you're flooding.
Right. The timing of the storm, right? If it comes in on a high tide versus a low tide.
And you're going to have higher tides at some time of the month. You're going to have tides with wider range. Where you're at in the world, your tides are going to be different. So let's just kind of talk about that, big tides versus small tides. Let's talk about what's going on right now and where do they come from?
full moon and new moon. Yeah. You know, you got the full moon or the new moon, so it works the same. So you're going to have the bigger swings. So you've got more gravitational pull. Up here at the store where MarineMax Clearwater is, we're top end of Tampa Bay. So the full moon will really pull the water out, right? So you get lower tides in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Now, conjunction with that, with the cool front, you got a north wind blowing. It'll actually blow the water out. So you got a hard ripping out going tide. You got a north wind on top of that. And the way Tampa Bay's situated, all that wind pushing the tide out, then there's a pinch point down by the Gandy Bridge. And so that water pushes through there. Then on the next incoming tide, as the water tries to come back in, that north wind is holding it back. So then you get the next big flush again. So then the tide goes out. So then that second tide drop, it can get really low. So, I mean, there's certain times a year, well, today's tide's really low. Right?
Are you landlocked there?
We can't bring a yacht in there or something like that right now. So, so you got to plan accordingly. Maybe if your boat's on your lift at your house, and there's a lot of customers that are like this, so that on a really low tide, you got to get the boat off ahead of time. So if you're planning a fishing trip and you're going to leave at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, the tide's high tonight, you better get the boat off the lift tonight, get it around, tie it around your dock. Otherwise, all your buddies show up and you're ready to roll, and the boat's not coming off the lift. You're sitting there watching the tide try to come up. Tides for fishing, right? So your stronger tides, new moon, full moon, you're going to get the bigger flush, like wheel tides. If you're fishing out at the Skyway or Egmont Key, all the crabs come out in the summertime and all that stuff, that's on your big moons. The tides are weaker, you know, when they're between those two periods.
Yeah, absolutely. And the tides are also going to be different no matter where you're at in the world as well. So, like, our tides are pretty moderate here in Florida. The closer you are to the equator, because of the gravitational pull of the moon, you're going to have less tide. You're going to have less water movement. I think here, what are we working with? A couple feet, maybe 3 feet
2.5 feet
of tide.
typically.
You bump up to the Chesapeake, it's a little more. You bump up to New England, you're starting to deal with double-digit tides.
Yeah.
You start talking about places like Nova Scotia, Maine, you're dealing with some serious tides, a lot of water moving, and it also creates a navigational challenge too. So we use Navionics, we talk about it all the time. When you're reading your charts, you're talking about mean low water, right?
Low water.
What does that mean exactly when you're talking about navigating? When, hey, it says this on this chart, it's 5 feet of water. Do I know if it's a high tide, low tide? What are we talking about here?
So your mean low water on your charts averaged out. They average after over 19 years. So it's going to be pretty darn close to what's normal. So on your charts, all those numbers on there are the mean low water numbers. So then if you've got a high tide, then you can add the extra to it. Or if you've got a negative tide, like we've got right now where the tide's really low, based off that zero line, then you're going to have to subtract those numbers off there. And remember too, unless your transducers have got an offset set on them, you're reading your depth from the bottom of the hull. So you got this V-shaped hull on your boat, and your transducers down here at the bottom of that. So it's pinging, it's pulsing down to the ground. And then whatever that time differential is, where it comes back up and comes back up at the bottom of the hull, is the difference, so it knows the depth of the water. Now, if it's reading 4.5 feet and you jump in the water, more likely it's going to be over your head.
Yeah.
Because you got to figure the couple of feet of water up to actually the water line up there. So you got a little fudge factor built in there, but then, you also got to take into account if you got your outdrive or your outboard all the way down, or your running gear underneath that. But on your charts, all those numbers on there are your mean low water averaged out over 19 years. And that's based off of the zero line. If you're at a tide chart, that you're going to have a line go across, and then anything up above, you can add that number to those values on your chart. If it's a negative tide, you're going to subtract that off of there.
Well explained.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We have another question from Facebook. Engines have been very popular today. This is from Joe Walsh III. Do you recommend using a salt be gone type product to flush out new outboard engines?
I have never used it,
Neither have I.
but I've had I've heard really good things from charter captains on it.
Yep, I do too.
Yeah.
People that use the Salt Away or whatever brand it is. Yeah, people love it, you know.
I mean, and anything helps.
And washing your boat
Mhm.
too with it, you know, or the spot free stuff that you can get so you don't have water spots on your boat and all that. But yeah, anything you can do to help flush the system out and get rid of the salt, I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely the biggest on an outboard engine, the biggest preventative maintenance item that you can handle on your own by just hooking up the hose, let it run, drink beer, good to go. Get all that salt out of the engine block. But either way, it's been a heck of a boating season here. Maybe not for us in the past week. We've been a little cold in Florida, so we've been cranking the heat. But it'll be 80 this week.
Yeah,
so
those
keep-
poor people had to
keep
turn the heat on this week.
And
Raul missed all that. He was down at BBI, so everybody has a heater on.
he flew south, and Raul, you know how he gets. He's like a migratory bird just chasing.
He's at Polar Express coming. He's checking out
He does.
later.
But we got a big month ahead of us. Can't wait to on the other side of Miami. We tentatively are going to have an episode planned here. I'll wait on the official for February 28th, last day of the month, just like this time. Might bring a guest on. If you have any suggestions for guests, drop them below. Going to get you all filled in on a Miami boat show. If I can get away from the Kilo booth, I'll go see what's cool, what's debuting, and what we can kind of talk about, and I'll give you guys some spark notes on that. But
Miami guys. So a couple weeks from now, if you think the backlog is big now on
Yes.
ordering a boat or getting a boat, if you've been dealing with your sales professional and you're on the fence, you better get off and make your decision, because there's going to, who knows? I mean, it's a manufacturer show. They're bringing everything.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many boats sold, and things are going to get pushed out. You better get your boat bought now. Get a deposit, and make up your mind and lock in your build spot, lock in your spot, because it's just going to do for the foreseeable future. I mean, it's out there, guys. So, I mean, I'm not in sales. I get to drive the boats on the delivery captain.
You're driving.
I'm with people on their happiest day of their life.
Yeah.
They're just taking delivery of their new boat. Nick's on the sales part of it, and hundreds of other MarineMax employees are too.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, if you want to get a boat, you better get it ordered now.
No, and let's talk about that for a minute, because I get it. This year's a little bit different from last year in the sense of last year was, hey, what's the lead time on a boat? Wow, that's crazy. Now, everybody is getting it because you're building a house, cabins are really. And anything furniture-wise, outdoor furniture. So a lot of more people are understanding that right now. But okay, let's use a baseline about 6 months out. Okay, I get it. That's a while. But that's your worst case scenario, because you can also bump up and deals fall apart. If you want to be boating by summer, the lead time might be long now. But I can guarantee you, with not hundreds, thousands of boats that are sold at the Miami show, that lead time is going to be a little bit further. So whether you can get on something before the show, go ahead and do it. Yep. Call your sales pro up at the show. Go ahead and do it. And that is really going to set you up for the 2022 boating season. Get out on the water, have some fun. That's what it's all about. And make some dreams come true, like Raul said earlier. So any questions about that, give us a call. You're MarineMax. Of course, I think that there's upwards of 80 locations now anywhere in the country, and we can make that happen for you. That's my sales pitch. I'm sticking to it, and yeah, we'll see you here next month, right?
Good luck in Miami.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and got the pre-boat show jitters and excited for what's going down there. But you guys know you can see us live, Facebook, YouTube, just like you guys did today. Great questions, and of course, you can download us on Spotify as well.
All your favorite podcasts. Yeah.
Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music. Give us a download. Half those streams are from me anyways. Keith, it's been a pleasure, man, and I'll see
Yep.
you out on the water. And
See you guys out on the water. See you next month, February 28th, 3 p.m.